Okay, welcome. Welcome everyone, fellow travelers on this journey without a distance. Okay, today is session number 139 of Kevin Reads A Course in Miracles. All right, we are still in chapter 17, which is entitled Forgiveness and the Holy Relationship. And we are in section 6, Roman numeral 6, entitled Setting the Goal. It's a good section. It's short, but it's a good one. Okay, I mean, I think they're all good, really. All right. Let's begin. Setting the goal. The practical application of the Holy Spirit's purpose is extremely simple, but it is unequivocal. In fact, in order to be simple, it must be unequivocal. The simple is merely what is understood, and for this, it is apparent that it must be clear. The setting of the Holy Spirit's goal is general. Now he will work with you to make it specific, for application is specific. There are certain very specific guidelines he provides for any situation, but remember that you do not yet realize their universal application. Therefore, it is essential at this point to use them in each situation separately, until you can more safely look beyond each situation in an understanding far broader than you now possess. Okay. So the practical application of the Holy Spirit's purpose is extremely simple. All right, but it is unequivocal. All right, it's unambiguous. It's clearly defined. It's clear. There's no two ways about it. Okay. So he says, in fact, in order to be simple, it has to be unequivocal. Okay. So, and he says, it's easily understood. All right, the Holy Spirit's purpose is truth, right? To bring us to truth, the truth of who we are, right? To be the bridge, right, between what we now think we're experiencing and our true existence, to be that bridge, okay? So the setting of the Holy Spirit's goal is general, right? But he will work with you to make it specific, all right? For application is specific. We believe we are specific, right? We are in actuality abstract thought, okay? But it's very frightening. So we take it little by little, and we, with the aid of the Holy Spirit, apply his purpose to our specifics, every situation, right? Everything, okay? Until we can generalize, right? And I mean, we get that these little aha moments along the road, and then we have a big aha moment when you, as he says, you now have an understanding far broader than you now possess. All right? We will be able to look past the specific situations with the understanding of what it's all about. Alfie. All right? And that's the broader understanding. There are certain specific guidelines he provides for any situation. right? But remember that you do not yet realize their general application. I mean, the guidelines are going to be specific, right? But the general application is that there's one problem, one solution. The problem is we believe we separated from our source. We believe we separated from God, right? But we're not at that realization yet. We still think we have myriad specific situations going on here, okay? And that's okay. That's what we're here to deal with, all right? Until we reach that understanding, right? That, as was it St. Paul that said, the peace that passes all understanding, all right? That's where you will be, all right? So, in paragraph 2, in any situation in which you are uncertain, the first thing to consider, very simply, is, what do I want to come of this? What is it for? Right. The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, for it is this which will determine the outcome. In the ego's procedure, this is reversed. The situation becomes the determiner of the outcome, which can be anything. The reason for this disorganized approach is evident. The ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. It is aware of what it does not want, but only that. It has no positive goal at all. So the ego, the only thing the ego is aware of is that it does not want me to go back to my mind to choose against it. That's all the ego knows. Doesn't know nothing about nothing. Doesn't know anything about God, love. Just knows that it wants to exist, and it needs me to make a decision, to choose it. All right, that's why in the beginning we're working with all these specifics. All right, so that he says to the ego that the situation becomes the determinant of the outcome. So it's as if I don't know what happened, all right? I have no responsibility for it. I don't know what happened. It just happened, you know? So it's not my fault, whatever it is, all right? And I'm being victimized by something, person, place, thing, organism, all right? Institution, whatever. Until we take each specific situation and we decide, what do I want to get out of this, right? What do I want to come of this? It's a nicer way to put it, as Jesus does, right? What is it for? Okay. What is it for? Is it for the realization of oneness? Is it for truth and peace? Or is it for chaos and conflict and separation and fear? All those things that come with the belief in separation. So what is it for? You know, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to experience? All right, and the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, because it is this which determines the outcome. All right? If I start my day determined that peace is my goal, truth is my goal, you'll see how these things are just intertwined. They go hand in hand. Then during the day, I can keep reminding myself, this is what I want. All right? This is my goal. because as human beings, we will drift away. The moment I set the goal, I'm liable to forget all about it and start cursing out the toothpaste tube because whoever had it last didn't squeeze it right. Doesn't take much, okay? Doesn't take much at all right? But then we can remember, oh no, wait, my goal is peace. And here's a specific situation that seems just very trivial, right? But it's not, all right? Because I was pulled out of my peaceful place by the toothpaste tube. So here's a specific situation, all right, in which I can apply setting the goal. What is it that I want to come of this? All right. And then I can go and ask, help me to see this. Help me to see this correctly. I mean, there's a billion specifics out there, okay? So the ego doesn't know what it wants. It just knows that it doesn't want me to go to my mind, to my decision-making part of my mind, and say, I want to remember who I am. All right, I want peace, all right, not chaos. All righty then. Paragraph 3. All right, let me just see if I forgot to mention something. All right, paragraph 3. Without a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, the situation just seems to happen, and it makes no sense until it has already happened. Then you look back at it and try to piece it together, what it must have meant, and you will be wrong. Not only is your judgment in the past, but you have no idea what should happen. No goal was set with which to bring the means in line. Now, the only judgment left to make is whether or not the ego likes it. Is it acceptable, or does it call for vengeance? The absence of criterion for outcome set in advance makes understanding doubtful and evaluation impossible. All right? So I mean, really, you could stop stop somebody you know. You could stop people on the street to talk to them, especially in this city. You stop somebody you know and you ask them, what's this world all about? You know, after they say to you, what, are you kidding me or what? All right? They don't know. All right? It makes understanding is doubtful and evaluation is impossible. All right? And that's because we keep reacting. We keep reacting to situations from our history. All right? Through the filter of what has happened to us before that we remember. And some people say even those things that you don't really remember. But we're talking about past lives. Don't worry about that. So in the ego thought system, you're really just reacting all the time through the filter of the past without a clear-cut positive goal set at the beginning. All right? And when you wander away, you bring yourself back. That's the practice. All right? Otherwise, we think we know what's going on. Right? It's like, the way it looks like to me is like as you growing up, right? You have no idea what's going on. Then you're a teenager and you think you know what's going on. And then you get older and older and you won't admit it, but you don't know what's going on. You know, and then we're just reacting to things. Right? You get to a point where you go, oh my God, don't get it, you know? And that's what we do in the ego thought system. And the ego's happy that you do that because you're mindless, right? You're really not trying to figure it out. Or you're trying to figure it out with the ego, with your ego mind. Okay? So he says the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make it happen. You will therefore make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective and concentrate on everything that helps you meet it. It is quite noticeable that this approach has brought you closer to the Holy Spirit's sorting out of truth and falsity. The truth becomes what can be used to meet the goal. The false becomes the useless from this point of view. The situation now has meaning, but only because the goal has been made meaningful. Okay? That's the value of deciding in advance. What is it that I want? What is it that I want to come of this day, this situation, okay? This relationship, where all the specifics that are in the day and within the course of your lifetime. Right? There's a value in deciding in advance what you want. Okay? Because the Holy Spirit will help us to sort out the true and the false, the useless and the useful, the meaningful and the meaningless. So the situation now has meaning, but only because the goal has made it meaningful. Right? You'll perceive the situation as a means of making it happen. My goal is truth. All right? So whatever situation we're in, the Holy Spirit will help us to use it to get to that goal. Okay? And this is paragraph 5, all right, which I have all kinds of marks next to, and an NB, nota bene, as we say, in Old Rome. It's a powerful paragraph. Okay? The goal of truth has further practical advantages. If the situation is used for truth and sanity, its outcome must be peace. And this is quite apart from what the outcome is. If peace is the condition of truth and sanity, and cannot be without them, where peace is, they must be. Truth comes of itself. If you experience peace, it is because the truth has come to you, and you will see the outcome truly. For deception cannot prevail against you. You will recognize the outcome because you are at peace. Here again, you see the opposite of the ego's way of looking. For the ego believes the situation brings the experience. The Holy Spirit knows that the situation is as the goal determines it, and is experienced according to the goal. Right? The Holy Spirit tells us that we will have the experience according to what it is we want. All right? According to the goal. What is it for? Peace or chaos? All right? The Holy Spirit knows the situation is as the goal determines it, and is experienced according to the goal. And this to me is a sentence that really struck me. in paragraph 5, it's sentence 4, if peace is the condition of truth and sanity, right, which is our goal, I mean, you see how they're all intertwined. If peace is the condition of truth and sanity and cannot be without them, then where peace is, they must be. Right? Truth comes of itself. So in that, I always refer to the goal of peace of mind, as the fertile ground. That fertile ground from which comes up the sanity and the truth. Right? The sanity being the healthy mind, right? And the truth of who you really are. The understanding of what's everything all about here. All right? And you will recognize the outcome because you are at peace. You will recognize this outcome because you are at peace. The Holy Spirit knows the situation is as the goal determines it, and is experienced according to the goal. Paragraph 6. The goal of truth requires faith. Faith is implicit in the acceptance of the Holy Spirit's purpose, and this faith is all-inclusive. Where the goal of truth is set, there faith must be. The Holy Spirit sees the situation as a whole. The goal establishes the fact that everyone involved in it will play his part in its accomplishment. This is inevitable. No one will fail in anything. This seems to ask for faith beyond you and what you can give. Yet this is so only from the viewpoint of the ego. For the ego believes in solving conflict through fragmentation and does not perceive the situation as a whole. Therefore, it seeks to split off segments of the situation and deal with them separately. For it has faith in separation and not in wholeness. All right? So the Holy Spirit sees the situation as a whole. Right? No matter how many people are involved, no matter what's involved. Okay? And each thing or each person in the situation will do exactly their part. Right? No one will fail in anything. Right? Because they're part of me experiencing peace of mind and the truth. All right? But the Holy Spirit will tell you, that's more than, don't do that. That's more than that you should do, because they're going to win. All right? Don't even think of looking at the situation, all right, with understanding. All right? They're going to win. And it just continues to reinforce that idea of separation. It seeks to split off segments of the situation and deal with them separately. All right? For it has faith in separation, not in wholeness. All right? Ego will always caution us. Don't go to the right mind, first of all, by keeping us mindless. But this forgiveness stuff, it's going to get you. They're going to win. They're going to roll all over you. They're going to take advantage of you. They're going to kill you. Forget this forgiveness, this understanding. All right? Keep projecting guilt. You'll feel better. All right? paragraph 7, confronted with any aspect of the situation that seems to be difficult, the ego will attempt to take this aspect elsewhere and resolve it there. And it will seem to be successful, except that this attempt conflicts with unity and must obscure the goal of truth. And peace will not be experienced except in fantasy. Truth has not come because faith has been denied, being withheld from where it rightfully belonged. Thus do you lose the understanding of the situation the goal of truth would bring. For fantasy solutions bring but the illusion of experience, and the illusion of peace is not the condition in which truth can enter. So the illusion of peace, all right, we think we got it done, is not the condition in which truth can enter. All right, let's take obvious examples of that in the ego world. All right, I mean, you take it, nations, they make peace treaties, okay? All nice, you know, well and good, sounds good, right? But it's the illusion of peace, right? It's the illusion of peace. And the truth can't enter that illusion, right? The truth is that we're all one mind, and we're dreaming this experience. That's the truth, right? But the peace treaty says, okay, you won't step over this line, I won't step over this line, all right? You don't do this, I won't do that, all right? So it's the illusion of peace. Truth, the truth that I'm your brother doesn't enter into the situation. Right? It's actually underneath it, you can see where it fosters separation. You stay out of this territory because you're different. And I'll stay out of that territory because I'm different from you. So truth can't enter that fantasy. We have to bring the situation to the right mind and ask, help me to see this through this filter of peace, through this filter of truth. All right? And just lay down your defenses, psychologically and otherwise, and allow the truth to arise. All right? If peace is the condition of truth and sanity, and it can't be without them, where peace is, truth comes of itself. Okay? So, to get back to that first sentence in paragraph 7, confronted with any aspect of the situation that seems to be difficult, the ego will attempt to take this aspect elsewhere and resolve it there. All right? So, you know, you're having a problem with your relationship. Okay? But you keep getting this pain in the stomach. Without going into specifics of the back and forth, you know, the ego will tell you got a pain in your stomach. All right? And it doesn't, because it's not going to look at the relationship. It's go, here, take care of that pain in your stomach. All right? Or, you know, and other things. All right? You know, I mean, I'm stopped. I'm stunned trying to think if I should even mention this, but There was a shooting, a mass shooting, and one of the silly statements that came out, almost immediately thereafter, he was apprehended. He was having a bad day. I mean, really? I mean, that's a prime example of the situation that seems to be too difficult, and we put it somewhere else. He's having a bad day, so I guess I'll go shoot somebody, all right? Because it's their fault that I feel miserable, right? It's their fault. I have to eliminate them. I mean, that's an incredibly extreme example, but the ego does these things. You know, I get a headache because of this. I think it's you. No, we get headaches because we think we're separated from God, actually. And we think we're in this body. Okay? I mean, but hey, deal with the headache. Deal with that. That guy has to be removed from society, so deal with it. And keep establishing the goal. I want to see through the eyes of peace. I don't know why that incident came up so clearly. It almost took my breath away. I don't know. Confronted with any aspect of a situation that seems to be difficult, the ego will attempt to take the aspect elsewhere and resolve it there. Right? So actually, for the ego, it's too difficult to look at the fact that I chose to believe in separation. So it has to put the problem anywhere else but that. All right? That's the basis of every silly situation we find ourselves in. All right? And it will seem to be successful, except that this attempt conflicts with unity. And it must obscure the truth. Okay? So, I mean, bottom line, in that broader understanding of things, Jesus says that we will develop. Everything is resultant from the belief I separated from God. And some people are extreme in their paranoia and their loneliness and their anger. And it's all, it's because of this and because of that. Never getting to the truth. It obscures the goal of truth. And the truth is the simple fact that I believe, I chose to believe that I'm separated from God. All right? And I've put my faith in the ego thought system. All right? So, and he tells us that it's a good thing to come back to the mind and set the goal. The goal being peace of mind. All right? Because the truth will arise of itself. All right? How can I be peaceful in this situation? What does peace look like? All those things. See, the words, use your own words. Repeat the story. One time in Roscoe, New York, in the Catskills, at the foundation when they had it up in Roscoe, at one of the seminars, whatever you want to call it, somebody said to Ken, "Well, can you like break it down for us? Is there some little prayer that we can use, when we're in a situation, And Ken just looked at him and said, "Well, can you say help? Can you say help?" Because the Holy Spirit knows the prayer of your heart. All right. Although Jesus comes up with very beautiful supplications here. It boils down to, can you say help? Help me to see correctly. And it's a good idea to set the goal in the beginning of your day, at the end of your day, and in the middle of your day when you realize you strayed away from the goal or you forgot the goal. You know, that's one of the, I think to me it's the purpose of the workbook for students, the 365 lessons, and Jesus says just do one a day, right? Don't be silly. And because it's mind training, it trains the mind to stop periodically and go to the right mind. And at that point, you can reset the goal. Okay? Keep setting that goal, and you will have the experience. You will have experiences, right, of seeing things differently, of being more peaceful, and it will broaden. You'll become more and more peaceful. All right? All right. Your friends and family won't recognize you. All righty then. All right. Thank you for being here. As I told you in the beginning, it's a short session. But looking forward to the next one. And peace out, as they say.